He lives.
Yeah, I think I'm a guest now. I don't even know if I'm hosting this thing anymore. Okay, hey, Howard. So, did we discuss that scene?
Completely.
Completely. Good. The only last thing I wanted to mention in that scene, and we'll get out of Gertrude's closet if you guys hadn't already, is he asks her, I have to go to England. Did you know that? And I think that's a pretty crucial line and question, both as the actor trying to figure out what's going on and, well, no, that's the main reason. And for the audience to know. He had to have found out about England. So does that mean he was spying on Claudius the whole time and he heard him give those instructions to RNG? I think there's good evidence for that. And furthermore, why, is that one last test for his mother? Did you know that? Did you know I was going to be sent away? Why didn't you tell me that? Who knows? There's a lot to unpack there, but I do think for our production, we have decided that he's eavesdropping a little earlier, and that's how he knows about the England plan. And then there's a great moment where he basically tells his mom, it's going to be okay. I'm going to figure it out. He fast forwards in his mind to basically say, I'm going to blow those guys up if you want to take it literally. Though there's no way he can know how he's going to do that, but he assures her that he will work it out, which I like. It's kind of one of those let's table this. I have the end game. I have no idea how to get there. Whereas earlier he says, I might know how to get there, but I don't know what the end game is. Crazy stuff. What did I want to look at? Oh, you know what? I said I would go back to Rosencrantz, and I wasn't lying. Let's look at 4-3. Hamlet and Rosencrantz. I might even be able to share it. Oh, I can share again. Well, I took down my the folder text, but in the meantime, let's read this one. 4-3, Hamlet and Rosencrantz. Can we get a Hamlet and Rosencrantz? No one volunteered for this one. I'm glad you pee-peed, Oliver. Okay. We have Sarah Marshall volunteering to be Hamlet. And we need a Rosencrantz. Kate is going to be our Rosencrantz again. Yeah. And I've already told you my thesis on how he's dealing with these guys, but let's look at this scene to see if it holds water. Okay.
Shares it, use his, but.
So, do you guys, Pam and Sarah, do you know where we are?
I tell me again.
Yes, where exactly?
3.
No. Oh God, no. No. Well, you can still hear me. That's good. Oh, there I am. Okay. Lines 9 through 30 in Act 4, Scene 3.
Got it.
Basically, to lay a little groundwork, he just killed Polonius. They know he did it. They are trying to get him to come with them to the king for whatever reason. So whoever has the first line can give it a go.
You want to ask where it's starting?
That's right there.
Okay.
Line 9 is the king.
I'm going to pull it up real quick if we don't know where we're.
Yeah, line 9 is
Nice.
the king.
Yeah.
What is line 9? Go ahead and just read it so I can.
Deliberate pause, diseases, desperate groan by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. How now? What hath befallen?
Well, that's not the right part I wanted. Here, I'm going to see what I sent you guys. Let me
I
just,
don't have the folders version.
It's the sponge. It's when they're talking about the sponge. That's what I'm looking for here.
That's 4-2.
Oh, okay. My bad. 4-2 then. If somebody can find the line.
Okay.
Hamlet. Is it?
You do not believe it,
Believe what?
that I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord?
Aye, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them, like an ape, an apple in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed and to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have you gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and, sponge, you shall be dry again.
I understand you not, my lord.
I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear.
My lord, you must tell us where the body is and go with us to the king.
The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing.
Great. And then Guildenstern jumps in with, a thing, my lord.
Of nothing. Bring me to him. Hide fox and all after.
Great. So you all probably picked up on this, but I mean, am I mistaken that he gives him a pretty clear warning here? Hamlet tells his buddy what? I mean, what does he just warn him of? Sarah Marshall, yeah.
That you're going to be completely wrung out in the end. The king's going to take what he needs and be done with you.
Yeah, and I remember when we were table working this, we kind of asked the question, what is a completely dry sponge? Dead.
Yep.
You know, if you look at it that way, he all but says, you are going to die if you keep doing this, buddy. Again, if maybe he was a better friend with Rosencrantz, he might pull him aside. Be like, I'm going to need 10 minutes while I talk you through the whole thing. He can't do that, but he gives him a pretty good warning, man. Like, you're going to die if you keep doing this. And Rosencrantz continues to play dumb, whether it's because he really is dumb or because he can't afford to listen to Hamlet at this point. He's already made his choice. So I like the idea that Hamlet's still giving people a chance. And then he kind of gives up. He says, I tried. Fine. Bring me to the king. I'll deal with him now. Cool. So I was going to look at that Hamlet. We don't need to see any more Hamlet. The last people I think we can look at. Oh, Jonna, you had your Gertrude speech. Okay, I think we have time for both of these. The last two scenes I want to see. Howard volunteered to be Claudius and I think I can share the screen now, Ron, so hold up a second. Let me try that. Yeah. So Howard volunteered to be Claudius in 4-5, and we could use a Laertes. So I kind of want to look at how both Claudius and Laertes are very much dealing with the information presented to them and planning things on the fly. If somebody's volunteering for Laertes, I can't see it. Maybe just say, I want to do it. This is in 4.
I want to do it.
Yes, that person, whoever said that. You are Laertes.
Okay.
I'll get us there a little faster. Come on, 4-5. Right much, Shakespeare? Come on. Jeez. See if I can scroll harder than that. Woo. Man, when Gerard watches this, he's going to have like 9 heart attacks. It's going to be so funny. He's going to be like, I should have taught this damn class myself. Okay, here we go. So just to fill in a few quick gaps, Laertes came back, which, by the way, I mean, if you think about it, Claudius had to expect that because eventually Laertes is going to find out that his dad was killed. And let's see how this is handled. Okay, 2:25 to the end. Okay, good. So Ophelia just came in. We saw how crazy she was. She's crying or singing or God knows what about her dead dad. And Laertes will say, do you see this, O God? And then Claudius is going to hop right in. So let's let our Laertes lead it off with, do you see this, oh God?
Do you see this, O God?
Laertes, I must commune with your grief, for you deny me right. But go apart, make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we call ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy sword, nor hatchment, nor his bones. No nor formal cry be heard, as 'twere from heaven to earth, that I must call it in question.
So you shall, and where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you go with me.
Great. So, Howard, why is he saying all this?
Well, he's trying to get himself out of Laertes' anger path. I mean, he's trying to avoid Laertes' anger and perhaps Laertes' desire to kill him. I think I also would say that there's something about the king, the scene before was so sad. I mean, with Ophelia, and he just likes, okay, enough of that sadness. Let's do some killing right now. He doesn't even. I hate that about Claudius. He doesn't really commune. Okay, let's commune. Now let's kill him. There's like a scene in Macbeth where that happens between Macduff. I think, where like, okay, my children are killed. Well, let's go out and kill them. Like, no, let's just stop and feel it like a man, which is what, like the king can't do here.
Yeah, well, great point about the Macbeth thing, because the next scene where we get Laertes and the king is almost exactly like the Macduff and Ross and Malcolm's scene.
Yeah.
Like, let's make a plan. Guy comes in with absolutely tragic, devastating news.
Right.
And then we see how that affects the plan. I just want to point out real quick. So I think Claudius is a pretty brilliant tactician.
Mm.
And one of the great ironies of the play is that, like, Hamlet and Claudius probably would have gotten along really well. And the actor who's playing our Claudius, and by the way, I don't know when we're doing the show. I've heard some rumors, but we are doing the show. We just don't know when. Hopefully the whole cast can return. I hope you guys get to see Britt Herring play Claudius, because he's fantastic. And he's a very, I don't want to say friendly Claudius, but he really likes to find the common ground with these people. And he's pointed out that Hamlet and Claudius really could do a great job together. I mean, Claudius is pretty brilliant with dealing with people. And you see just in this scene, whoops, this guy's flipping out. Laertes is flipping out. And the first thing he says is, you know what? Why don't you go? First of all, I need some time here. Why don't you go? But here's what you get to go do. Get all your best friends. Get all the best judges you know. Get everyone you trust to come find out if I am to blame for this. So it's like brilliant tactic. Go away so I have time to think of a better plan. And then, and then at the end he says, you know what? We're going to find out who did it. Let the great axe fall. We'll kill somebody. But just hold on. Let's get more information first. So and then his next scene is just probably my favorite in the whole play, even though a lot of people think it's boring and long. Should we skip to that? I kind of want to skip ahead because we don't have time to look at the letter. Let's just skip ahead because I really wanted to see that. And I promised, who was our Gertrude? Jana, you will fit in so perfectly here because before you come in, I do want to point out this last thing. So they have the whole discussion about what should we do? What should we do? How can you get revenge? Oh, wait a minute. I remember that guy who said you were a really good swordsman. You are a good swordsman, right? And then he does this brilliant move of saying, whoop.
Did you love your father? Oh,
Yeah, well, you love your father, first of all. That's a great move. But I love how he Claudius sets Laertes up with this whole speech about some gentleman from Normandy. You know, he's such a great guy. He can ride horseback like nobody's business. He thought you were, I can't remember the guy's name, though. Do you remember? Laertes says, upon my life, Lamord. So look at what's just happened there. He got Laertes to buy in. He flattered him, but then he got Laertes to volunteer the guy's name. It's these little things that are sucking Laertes in, which I love. And then this line is my favorite, probably in the whole play. Ba, 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 ba. He's talking about how that Norman guy was praising Laertes for his swordsmanship. And then he says, sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming o'er to play with you. He just planted the idea of a fencing match, and he just said the word envenom. Now, it goes along nice with envy. He didn't suggest anything about poison. Who suggests poison? Much later, Laertes. Where do we have it? I bought an unction of a mountebank, so mortal, blah, blah, blah. Good plan, King. I also have poison. But who planted that idea? It was Claudius, much earlier when he said envenom. I don't know if that's on purpose. I think that's something for the actor to play with about making the other guy think he came up with the plan. That's always a great strategy for a politician. Since I promised Jonna, let's hear you, Jonna, read The Death of Ophelia, and that will be the end. And on that cheery note, we will end this class. So they're coming up with the plan. They got the venom. It's going to be great. And then the queen comes in. Why don't you go ahead and start with your sisters drowned, Laertes. I hope Jonna's still here. She may not be here.
She's drowned.
Oh, that was so dark. I loved it. Okay, we won't have her read it, but I will say for whoever's playing Gertrude, there are so many questions. Does somebody just want to read it real quick? I'd love to hear preferably a woman. It doesn't have to be, but just to hear this great speech from a woman, since there's so much guy talk. Let me stop share so I can see if there are volunteers. It could be a guy too. Wait, I can't see anybody. Somebody just say, I want to read it.
I'll read it.
Oh, here we go. Who said that?
Sarah Marshall said that.
Sarah Marshall. Okay. So let me share the screen again. Okay. Here we go. Well, I don't know. Can you guys see my screen? Great. Okay. Go ahead, Sarah. Tell us what happened. Drowned, oh, where?
There is a willow grows askant the brook that shows his hoard leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she make of crow flowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, that liberal shepherds give a grosser name. But our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds clamoring to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then she is drowned?
Drowned. Drowned.
Double drowned. Okay. Thank you very much, Sarah. It's a great descriptive speech. It tells us exactly what happened if we're to take Gertrude at her word. Somebody want to weigh in? What is the deal with this? What do you make of that as an actor who might have to read that or play it? Yeah, Howard, go ahead.
Well, the question is, why didn't she stop her from drowning? I mean, that's sort of the obvious. She's there watching it, and she has all the details. So there's a kind of guilt. You might play with a little undertone of guilt, or some guilt, or maybe a lot of guilt. Gertrude could play it that way. I wonder why she hasn't stopped her from killing herself.
I don't think, though, that you can read in any of the lines any sense that she was actually there, only that she might be reporting, because she never says, yeah, I saw this, only, this is what was reported, what had happened.
Sarah, did you want to weigh in on that?
It's a pretty long speech to say your sister drowned. A lot of literally flowery language to just kind of go on in this very descriptive way to give really bad news. And it seems like there has to be some reason for that. You would have to give yourself a reason for that.
Oh, wait, I saw one other person raising hand. Hold on, let me get back to that. I agree totally. I think whoever just said she probably wasn't there, maybe, but that's a pretty darn good description from someone who wasn't there. Either you have a terrific messenger / courtier who took notes, and then the question is, why didn't he do anything? What was he, painting by the river and just watched all this? I think one option for painting such the picture is that not all of this sounds like somebody about to die, not really even until the very end. I mean, even if that's kind of sweet that she was out there playing with the flowers. If you fell in the water and then you're floating like a little mermaid, that doesn't sound so bad. Maybe somebody was watching her and like, oh, she's swimming now. Oh shit, now she drowned. So it might not have been a drowning to the very end. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. And I think it's possible Gertrude is apologizing for a lot of it and maybe even setting up a defense of why she didn't stop it, because it was a beautiful, mesmerizing scene until it wasn't. Just one option. I've seen it played that she's crazy and Gertrude's had a breakdown and she comes in and like reports it in some catatonic state, whatever. I mean, that's a choice. I don't think it's very active, but it's a choice. I've gone over time. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. I will never be invited back, but this was a lot of fun. And
thank you for your patience.
Yes. Hopefully my point of how we didn't even dig that deep, and Ron is going to dig into some of the speeches later, because we can spend a lot of time on specific lines, on specific speeches. I just kind of wanted to give you a feel of the detective work and how the work's never done. I will, before I let you go, or before Ron takes over, I wanted to recommend two quick things. Gerard already recommended the Isaac Asimov dramaturgical notes, which are great. And he wrote that whole book on it, whatever it's called, Asimov's Guide to Shakespeare. The Hamlet one is like 112 pages. He really goes in it. The other thing is a podcast, which I've been listening to from a friend of mine, actually, who's a dramaturg, wicked smart guy, like Jeopardy and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire winner. So he's smart. He has a podcast called Clear Shakespeare. So that is my plug for you. Clear Shakespeare. He literally goes through every line of the play and discusses it. Helps you paraphrase, do all the things, gives you some ideas. I listen to it. I got a lot of ideas. There's some I disagree with, which is great. You should disagree with stuff. That's why this play is still being done, because people don't agree on everything. So Clear Shakespeare podcast. And Ron, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Vince. All right, everybody, we're back next week as promised. Brendan Fox, director of CLC's Hamlet, when it happens. He'll be the one directing it. Will be joining us next week. And so stay tuned. If you have questions, if you have ideas for education, please ping me an email. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Well, before you go, let's get a selfie. So remember.
Yeah, get a selfie.
Here we go. Wait, it's kind of hard to do. We'll try. There we go. Okay. Thanks, everybody. You're great. Bye-bye.
Bye. See y'all.
Bye.